Hello everybody. I hope you all have had a great start to the new year. So if you remember, a couple of months back, I did a review on PowKiddy's Q20 Mini. Well, today I'm actually going to be playing with Anbernic's RG300X. So let's get to it. I have actually had this about as long as I've had the Q20 Mini. I just haven't had a chance to get to playing with it. So I haven't even opened it yet to look at it and enjoy it. So I want to do that with you today. The RG300X is designed to look like the GBA Micro in the looks department, while the Q20 Mini was designed to look like the GBA Micro in size. Now, I do have to admit that the Q20 Mini did kind of reel me in, and it pretty much won me over. I really did enjoy reviewing that, and it's a fun device. But what I am very curious about is if the RG300X can do the same thing. I have heard, and obviously it's natural, that there are a few differences from the Game Boy Micro, other than just being bigger. Now, we did have the Game Boy Micro in the past, and we no longer have it, which I am super sad to say. So with that in mind, let's just open this thing up and look at it. So this is the box that the RG300X comes in. It shows the design. It shows what you get: console, charging cable, user manual. I also happened to get this with my order. Turn it the right way. And I was very happy for that because it will keep it safe when I'm not using it. And this is something I'm hoping to carry around with me. I can actually probably hook it to the side of my purse when I travel. So I'm excited about that. This side of the box does show the specs, and I will actually put that up on the screen as we talk. This gives you a little outline, explains what everything is. Pretty easy to understand if you ask me. Let's open this thing up. You will see user manual and the USB-C cable for charging. And I love the way they pack these things. I just love this little rubber mat that comes on top. It is perfect. This is a super beautiful device, very nostalgic. If you'll see here, we have the D-pad, all the buttons, start and select. We have the micro SD card slots, reset button, headphone jack. Then we have the slot for the HDMI cable and 2 USB-C slots, power button, and I'm assuming we have volume. Yes, volume button is on this side. As you can see, we have the classic Famicom colors. This also does come in black, but as you know, this is classic, and that's what I love. So this should play the usual suspects, and it should perform similar to the other handhelds with the same specs. It plays 8 to 16-bit consoles well, and some PS1, though probably not the greatest. Anbernic says that RG300X can emulate the following game consoles now. That means it should play PlayStation 1, not very well, CPS, Neo Geo, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Famicom, Super Famicom, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Sega Game Gear, SNES, and NES. Okay, so as you can see, this does have the 3-inch IPS display, which is 640 by 480 for resolution, and it has the JZ4770 dual core 64-bit. That's 1 gigahertz. And I did mention before, it has the HDMI out. The battery is actually 2500 mAh, which should be good for this. It has the headphone port, the 2 USB-C slots, and the 2 SD card slots. Yes, I did mention that this is using an old 1 gigahertz dual core JZ4770 chip. So my expectations really are not super high, in a sense that this is not going to blow my mind in that way. And it definitely won't be emulating Dreamcast well for those of you who love Dreamcast. Immediately, right off the bat, we can see there are 4 buttons instead of 2. There is no cartridge slot anywhere, and there are 2 speakers instead of 1. Of course, there are a couple of micro SD card slots, and that is just to name a few of the really noticeable differences. This runs on an OpenDingX Linux-based operating system. The user interface can be a little bit challenging to navigate for some people, especially those without experience. Right now, I need to prepare an SD card with games to start playing. Later in the video, I am going to boot from a custom operating system called Atom, which is supported by a very talented community, and they constantly roll out updates. And now the new update has RG300X support as well, so that's very convenient. Atom helps to bring a more simple experience. So right off the bat, just looking at it, it's beautiful. It has that perfect nostalgic look, and it makes you feel like when you pick this up and you play with it, it is going to take you back in time. So one of the first things that I did notice was that my fingers hit the trigger buttons, and it makes everything kind of go all over the place. And when I was trying to change the SD card, that is where I figured that out. And I do understand there's nowhere else to really put these. So that is just something I wanted to mention. This does feel nice and silky smooth. It's almost a little slippery, but I do like that texture. It's a very nice feel, and you can see the back. I really love these colors. This does feel quite different than the Q20 Mini, and I will talk about that here after a bit. But first, I would like to play a game and see how this works. Are you ready? I am going to play Super Mario World because that is my favorite game. And let's just listen to the volume, see how loud that gets. And I think it could be louder. It does have a nice volume to it. Not the loudest I've heard though. See, and if you notice, I'm trying to keep my fingers like out of the way of the trigger buttons, because what you will be using a lot is select and start throughout your process of using this device. And if you're not careful, you will be hitting those buttons and other things will happen. So I've got to the point where I'm resting my index finger at the top, using that for leverage, and doing that. Pretty responsive. I mean, basically this is just to do a run through to see how well it plays, and it seems to play great. There might be just a slight bit of a lag. Nothing too overwhelming, I would say. Of course, we have to play Sonic. How can we not play Sonic, right? Now this is really doing well with the controls so far. Right off the bat, I can see a difference there. The volume seems a little louder on this one as well. So Sonic plays very well on this device, and the colors are super vibrant, I must say. So now let's go to NES, and let's see what we can get into here. What do I want to try? Give me a star, give me, no! Come here. That played fairly well on here as well. Okay, now we want to take a look at the viewing angles, and I think they are pretty good if you ask me. Not that we're going to be tipping the device as we play like this, but I think the viewing angles are really good on here. Okay, as you can see, we are loading Atom in there. that does everything for you. You don't have to worry about anything else. So I will say this seems pretty well built. It's pretty sturdy, and the D-pad I really think feels great. The tension in it is perfect. I will say this as well. I love the size of the buttons and the D-pad on this. I feel like they gave plenty of space to put good sized buttons in here, and I love that. The button quality isn't horrible, but again, it's not the best. You can hear the clickiness, so that is good. The only problem I think I do have with the buttons is they are slightly jiggly when I do play, and that's a bit distracting for me. I don't know that it makes too much of a difference when I actually play, but it makes my fingers feel like that they're going in a bit of a different direction. But performance-wise, I think they do well for what they are. The D-pad, again, it functions very well for the basic games. The screen, it's colorful, it's vibrant. Let me just get into the handhelds here. It's not an over bright screen, but it is beautiful to look at and very eye-pleasing. That's something I really enjoy when I play on these handhelds. As I mentioned a few minutes back, the viewing angles are great. It's very easy to see the menu and the instructions. You'll see that right there. This is Adam, of course. The buttons do have a nice bounce back. The layout is perfect. I love how everything is spaced, and it looks beautiful. Did I mention that earlier? Let's play a couple of games here in Adam and see how well this plays. Oh, this brings back so many memories. Yay! Reha! Gotcha! Oh, boogers, I was trying to jump on him. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. So Adam does help to bring a more simple experience like you get when you're using emulation based firmwares. Say that like 50 times as fast as you can. And it does come with RetroArch, is what I just showed you here. It has that support as well. So I think I'm enjoying the usability more than I did with the stock one. I do want to mention that the sound does not feel muffled or anything like that. It's loud enough, as you can hear. Let me turn that down a slight bit there. The speakers, I really like that they're on top. You can directly hear it. So I think the speakers, they've done a great job for that. Keep in mind, I am not the Tetris player in the family. Yay! Oh, what do I do now? I can't make that fast of a decision. Anyway, you get the idea. This is very enjoyable. Let's play a Game Boy Color game. I just want to give you a little bit of everything. So let's open this and see what it looks like. And here we go. And I'm just telling you, I love the looks of these old games on here. Okay, so I really did love Q20 Mini when I played it, but I feel this might be a bit better than that. I love the size of how this fits in my hand, and I love how it looks. It just takes you back. When we take a look at these two next to each other, we do see obvious differences, the size, and we have one speaker here, we have two speakers here. Just a few differences here. Start and select are in different spaces and everything. They're different devices, of course, they're going to be different. I will say the Q20 Mini has a more vibrant screen and it's much brighter, but I still love the way the games are looking on the RG300X. And when I play with these and then I touch these, I do feel that the quality of the buttons and the D-pad feel much better on this game. This game does have a bit of a plasticky feel because it's made of plastic, but it doesn't feel like a terribly low quality plastic. But it does feel cheaper than the materials used on the RG300X, which are super smooth and very beautiful. Now the RG300X is much more comfortable to fit in your hand and actually play these games, whereas I feel that the Q20 Mini is like something that will fit about anywhere that you want to take it. Like, you can just shove this in your pocket and be happy, I think. Now what we are doing here, we'll look at these two side by side so you can see the similarities in the colors. The aspect ratio, of course, is a little bit different on the Q20 Mini right now, but as you can see, the vibrance of the Q20 Mini is just outstanding. And for some reason, even though this is brighter and more vibrant, I love the look on the RG300X. So I thought you might want to take a look at these next to each other, just, you know, to compare them. Between these two devices, I think I absolutely love the RG300X the best. Also, I do want to mention that we paid, I think, slightly under $40 for the Q20 Mini, and I think around $70 for the RG300X, which I think for $70, I think it's a great deal. I know other people have paid more. I don't know if I would go up to $90 for a device like this. It depends on if I want to collect everything that's out there related to these type of devices. But I do like the case. It's very nice. And I do feel that the case, not only does it protect it, but it makes it easier to take with you. But I think it was a nice gesture to include the case with it. So the usual question, would I recommend RG300X? I would say yes, especially if you love collecting nostalgic handheld devices. This is super cool. Maybe it doesn't have the latest and greatest chipset. Maybe it's not the brightest screen, but for some reason, something just draws me to this screen and how it looks. I don't know how well you can see that, but I really like this. And I love the size. I love how everything is spaced out well, and the D-pad is pretty decent. And overall, the experience of the games on here is a lot of fun. Very enjoyable, and that's what we're looking for, right? Something we can sit, enjoy whenever we feel like it. I love the Famicom look, and one of the main pluses to this is its size. Though it's not as compact as the Q20 Mini, it still is a decent size. It's super travel friendly, and if yours comes with a case like mine did, it's even protected. It's by no means a super cheap quality. It's not giving way when I push on it or bend it or anything like that. So to me, that says I can pretty much handle this how I want to and not worry a whole lot. This does put me in mind a lot of the GBA Micro, but there are quite a few differences. And the Game Boy was quite heavy actually, and I think this is a bit lighter. The quality of the GBA Micro was excellent. It was great, but a lot of it was also made out of metal, which is pretty durable. And right now, holding this in my hand, it kind of makes me miss my Game Boy Micro. But again, I don't think I will be missing it so much as I was now that I have the RG300X in my hands. And I think a lot of you would love it too. Just give it a chance. That is all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please share this with your friends. If you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe. And as always, have a game-tastic day. And Happy New Year's.